Hey guys, Roadrunner here with Mama Zena, pretty girl, prettiest girl in the world. Anyways, so if you've read the title of the video, I wanted to explain. This is actually my second time doing this. 'Cause I ran out of memory again because I forgot to delete the rest of the videos. But wanted to give my perception on, as a fellow member of this kind of group, I wanted to give my perception of what freeganism is, to me at least. It's different for a lot of people. Freeganism, the word itself, comes from vegan or veganism. Instead of their movement, which I believe is, if I remember correctly, because I'm not a vegan, so I wouldn't know, but if I remember correctly, that is to protest the abuse and products of animals. Well, with freeganism, there's a lot to it, but basically the gist of it is you're protesting capitalism and what was the other word? I'm really tired, so bear with me. Capitalism and consumerism, my bad. So basically, a freegan is somebody who tries to, they're protesting like big box companies, you know, Walmart and Target and Lowe's and all that. And a freegan would try to not only not make as much money as possible because they see no point in it, which I don't blame them, but they also try not to spend money at these stores. You see? Because if you don't spend money at these stores, they don't make a profit. If less people start going to these big box stores, regardless of who it is, these big box stores are going to go out of business. And to be honest, as much as I hate to admit it, considering I'm more of a local business kind of person, I would prefer that. And I know that sounds mean because, you know, you got people who need jobs, but when you got big box office, big billionaire, whoever it is, Rothschild, whichever one it is that owns Walmart, and the whole family has that amount of money, it's kind of bullshit to me if you ask me. But anyways, that's beyond the point. Freegans basically, you know, they try to rescue food. You know, it's with that in mind. It's similar to Food Not Bombs, which actually, if you ask me, is a very good organization. I've met them in Houston. They are really nice people. Clothing, they like to squat on abandoned property, which I also do. Just basically anything that is basically against the norm. You know, freegans would try to not work as much as possible. We'd rather spend time with our families, which for me is spending time with Xena and Avery and the rest of the animals. That's my family. And my mother and my nephew and whatever. It's almost 11 o'clock. It's 10:50 actually. I'm very tired. Anyways, freeganism started, supposedly, the roots of it was started in the 1960s during the hippie movement, and it didn't die off, and the actual name of it, freeganism, was coined in the mid to late 90s. And it's one of those trends, I wouldn't call it a trend actually, but a lot of people do. It's basically one of those trends where mainstream can't take it over. You know, like when they did it with grunge, you know, when grunge bands were around playing with flannel that they got at military surplus stores, you know, what happened next? You know, these big box companies and these corporations took it as a fad and was starting to sell at the stores for like these outrageous prices, which is, in my opinion, that's the reason why you don't see them wear it anymore. Then it's outdated. There's some freegans who live completely off grid, which, to be honest, I think I'm halfway there. If the city would get off my ass about certain stuff, I probably would be there by now. But what do I know? Um, and then there's other freegans, which I might do this, I may not in the future, I don't know yet, who do what's called guerrilla gardening. And if you don't know what guerrilla gardening is, basically, let's say if you were in, like, downtown, whatever, Houston, New Orleans, Lufkin, don't matter, and there's a plot of land, you know, an empty lot, nothing but dirt, and it has been taken care of in years. Somebody, let's say a freegan, for example, will go to that lot, and either they already have the plants planted in a pot and they're going to plant it back into the ground, or they're going to start growing, you know, vegetables and plants and stuff like that. And so basically you're taking over that plot of land to grow plants and vegetables and stuff like that. That's basically what guerrilla gardening is. Which I actually agree with it. I like it. I really like guerrilla gardening. I've been sharing this a lot on Facebook, where I'd rather walk down a city block, a city block in, like, Houston or New Orleans, especially New Orleans, since they got a worse food crisis than Houston does, and see nothing but vegetable gardens, fruit gardens, you know, people growing their own plants, their own basic herbal medicine, whatever. You know, I'd rather see that than a liquor store or something like that, you know, which you see a lot of that over in New Orleans, depending on what side of the city you're on, especially the east side. No offense to anybody that lives there. But, yeah, freegans believe in anti-consumerism and anti-capitalism, which I strongly agree with. I believe that, if anything, as I probably just mentioned earlier, like I said, I'm too tired to remember right now, if a big box company went out of business, I don't have a problem with it, especially the Walmart here. Everybody thinks Walmart is the savior of Lufkin, but in reality, if that was the case, they would have got rid of Berkshire Brothers, who started here in Lufkin and has, let me think, 3 locations in Lufkin: Hudson, Dieball, let me think, Central, no, not Central, Zavala. I don't remember if I said Hudson or not already. Yeah, you got like 8 or 9 different locations of Berkshire Brothers, and I'd rather be supporting Berkshire Brothers, even though they're bigger now than what they used to be. But they're technically local. They're from Lufkin. They started in downtown Lufkin, across the, right where the old county jail is, which they tore down almost that whole city block to build, and now it's abandoned. But whatever. I like the idea of squatting abandoned property, whether it's a old house, an old land, you know, like the one I was on in that couple videos ago. I like the idea. I mean, just basically, it's basically, in my eyes, being as self-sufficient as possible, which is basically what I believe homesteading and freeganism should be. And of course, a lot of people find it differently, which is no problem. But freeganism is different to everybody. Some people do it as a political statement. Others do it out of necessity. You know, they basically have no choice. They have to go freegal with what they need to get done. Which is where, for food examples, where the dumpster diving would come in. Dumpster diving is a big part of trying to get everything. You know, I find it funny because I was reading an article a couple weeks ago on freeganism, where this guy was talking about, like, the pros and cons, and he said one of the cons was you can't pull your home out of a garbage can, but in reality, if you're like me and Cooter, where we lived in tents, you know, I pulled tents out of trash cans. So, yeah, technically you can. Anyways, I kind of wanted to just rant about freeganism because I really like it. I love it. That's the way I view it. Like I said, I like it and love it. I think it would be cool if more people were involved with it. And I want to try to get something like that going here in Lufkin, because I think it would be probably very good as a change in culture here in Lufkin, where instead of everybody, especially on the south side of town where Walmart is, people always, especially the homeless people, always holding their signs, the home bums, as a lot of us call them, always holding their signs, always begging for money. Instead of that, why not just go live off of the land? Why not just go, I mean, I know there's law enforcement going to be up your ass, but it's better than sitting at a street corner begging for money and then going off and getting high or, drinking your ass off or something. And then not only that, these families who have to depend on Salvation Army and the Red Cross or whatever for food and all that, they wouldn't have to if everybody would just start growing vegetables and fruits and collecting water and shit like that. You see, if we would stop depending on these corporations, we wouldn't, we would all be self-sufficient. I really do believe we would be. If it was... Forced isn't the right word, but, okay, I'll put it this way. If push comes to shove, I would try to make it where everybody had some sort of a garden in their yards, front and back. So in other words, you're gonna have a front yard garden of flowers, because some of us, like myself, who's trying to get one going, will have bee colonies, and those bees need certain flowers to get nectar so they can actually start making honey. And then in the backyard, you're gonna have fruits and vegetables growing in your backyard, and you'll have a rain barrel, and you'll collect that water, and you'll purify it, and stuff like that. That's freeganism. That's self-reliance. That's homesteading in a nutshell. I think it would be amazing. And I know it's not for everybody, but it's either that or they're saying we're supposed to be having some sort of a food shortage. But that right there, the food shortage, needs to be another video. So this is going on long enough. I'm pretty sure I'm probably boring everybody now. So anyways, I'm going to bed. I'll see you all tomorrow.